back at war. A week after a truce temporarily paused the fighting between Israel and Hamas, the Middle Eastern country and the militant group that controls Gaza have resumed their attacks against each other. The initial truce began on November 24th. It had been extended twice over the days that followed. Hamas released dozens of the hostages it took when it launched an attack against Israel on October 7th. Israel released hundreds of Palestinians who were being held in Israeli prisons, and more humanitarian aid flowed into Gaza. But as talks between the two sides broke down last Friday, Hamas reportedly started firing rockets toward Israeli territory, and Israel took aim at hundreds of targets in the Palestinian territory of Gaza. On the ground, Israel's military pushed towards southern Gaza after saying it told civilians to leave certain areas. Israeli officials estimate that Hamas is still holding 130 people hostage, but experts say another truce between the two sides doesn't look likely at this point. Hi, I'm Carl Azus. Welcome to the world from A to Z, where we're taking you from the Middle East to Southern Asia today. But along our trek across the globe, we're making a stop in the United States, where Supreme Court justices, historians, educators, and other citizens are remembering Sandra Day OConnor. An American lawyer who once had trouble finding a job because she was a woman, OConnor would eventually become the first woman to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court. In between, she worked for free in a county attorney's office. She worked as a homemaker, raising 3 sons. She served as a state senator in Arizona before becoming a trial judge and state appellate judge. And after more than 24 years on America's highest court as an associate justice, OConnor wrote books, was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and became a passionate advocate for civics education, founding the nonpartisan organization iCivics in 2009. The woman who's been described as everything from an icon to a patriot to a true cowgirl passed away Friday at age 93.
Sandra Day OConnor grew up a cowgirl from Arizona, 25 miles from the nearest town.
I tend to be a bit of a pragmatist, probably, because we had to solve all our own problems out on the ranch. If the truck broke down, we had to fix it. If some animal needed medical attention, we had to provide it.
She was incredibly fearless about life, and part of that was because her early life was very hard. Her parents died, her grandmother died, she was shuttled back and forth between the ranch and relatives in Texas to go to school, and she just became very self-sufficient.
OConnor went to Stanford in the same law class as future Chief Justice William Rehnquist. Upon graduation, no law firm would hire OConnor, so she eventually helped start her own, later becoming a powerful state lawmaker, then judge. In 1981, President Ronald Reagan nominated her to be the first woman on the Supreme Court. The Senate confirmed OConnor unanimously, 99-0. Over time, OConnor became known as a moderate conservative on the court and often the swing vote on hot-button social issues, a reference she didn't like.
We have an equal voice, and I'm no more powerful than anyone else on this court, that's for sure.
Some criticized her as a fence-sitter, waiting to see which way the wind would blow.
Those would be the people who have never met her. Anybody who's met her knows that she makes up her own mind, and she's not at all concerned about where anybody else is on the spectrum.
In 2006, she stepped down from the court to care for her husband, John, who had Alzheimer's disease. She became a passionate advocate for Alzheimer's research. In 2018, OConnor revealed she too had been diagnosed with dementia and withdrew from public life. The retired justice was grateful, she wrote, for her countless blessings and experiences, including helping to break the glass ceiling.
It wasn't too many years before I was born that women in this country got the right to vote, for heaven's sakes. And in my lifetime, I have seen unbelievable changes in the opportunities for women.
On this date in world history. On December 4th, 1875, the New York politician known as William Boss Tweed escaped from jail and went into hiding. He was the leader of a corrupt New York City political organization named Tammany Hall, and Tweed had been accused of misusing city funds. Tweed hid out during the trial, and after being found guilty, fled to Spain. He was caught there and sent back to New York to serve his sentence. This was the date in 1909 when the Montreal Canadiens were founded. That makes them the world's oldest professional ice hockey team. The Montreal Canadiens are also the team with the most Stanley Cup titles. They've won 24. And on this date in 1991, American journalist Terry Anderson was released after being held hostage for more than 6 years. He was abducted by Islamic militants during Lebanon's civil war, and Anderson later said he'd forgiven them.
A word of knowledge. In which of these countries is Mandarin an official language? Singapore, Philippines, Laos, Cambodia. Mandarin is one of the 4 official languages in Singapore.
You heard us discuss dementia earlier in our report on Sandra Day OConnor. The World Health Organization defines dementia as a term for several diseases that can impact people's thinking, memory, and their ability to go about daily life. It affects tens of millions worldwide. There's no cure. But there are a number of treatments, including therapy that utilizes music and dancing that may help people with dementia. One of these efforts is taking place at a lodge in Singapore.
The dance party offers a fun way to battle the progression of their dementia. The seniors cut loose for about an hour, singing together, dancing, and holding hands.
I'm just goofing around when I dance. I don't really know how to dance, but I've got thick skin.
Songs are chosen to get residents moving, and on their playlist, strictly tunes from the 1940s and 50s.
Old songs are better and more meaningful. New songs are nice too, but I know the old songs.
As they tired from the relentless boogie, the DJ switched to a romantic ballad, and residents swayed to its soothing melody.
Music moves the soul, music is intrinsic in everybody, everybody has a soundtrack to their lives, right? So there's always some music that would have impacted you sometime during your life.
Johnson So started this initiative after his father was diagnosed with dementia, modeling it after similar studies done in the UK and Australia, and a playlist that fits local music tastes. Singapore, like many countries in Asia, is struggling with an aging population and rising dementia rates. Research has shown that music therapy can help those people with Alzheimer's disease, the most common type of dementia. It can improve their overall well-being, their cognition, and their emotions.
We play old songs, and then they help to trigger the memories and emotions of our residents that are often associated with certain memories from their past. So this helps to provide a sense of familiarity and comfort for our residents.
Knew we'd get back to the Sooners date sooner or later. That's Oklahoma, and we're visiting Mrs. McBride's class this Monday at Bixby Middle School. The Spartans are watching from Bixby. And it's not just any Bears, it's the Smoky Bears who are next. Mrs. Newport's class, great to see y'all at Sevier County High School in Sevierville, Tennessee, the volunteer state. A barber shop was recently opened at a middle school in Massachusetts, but it's not only the location that makes it unique, it's the prices. Whether you want a regular cut, a fade, or a blowout, it's all $0, as in free. The on-campus style shop was paid for by a grant, and it's supported by the state. It was set up to help families who might not have the time or the money to book an appointment somewhere else. Of course, the barber might get detention, 'cause he's always cutting up. Still, that's kind of his style. Whether he keeps things short and sweet or high and tight, heading up efforts like that always cut it. Regardless of whether they blow out or fade away, you never need to be on guard when it's hard to flat top the hair-raising possibilities that always shape up. I'm Carl Azouz, brushing up on puns for the world from A to Z, and it always means the world to us to have you watching.